in this march. This is a loud crowd trying to compete, so I'm not going to try too much, because we both got important things that we're talking about today. But most importantly, who I am and why I am here has been brought to you because of medical marijuana. Medical marijuana has changed my life. It has made my life better. I stand here, I look like I might have decent posture, but you can't tell from the way that I look that I was driven off of a 60-foot cliff. I was hit by a semi-truck and I live with intractable pain. I went down the route where pharmaceuticals were an only option for me at the time. I didn't live in Washington. I wasn't fortunate enough to have a system where medical cannabis was an option for me. At the time that I decided to go with an alternative natural medicine like cannabis, there wasn't a whole lot of options available. So, once upon a time ago, I started a little access point. And I realized, man, this is so much bigger than me. This is bigger than you, this is bigger than all of us. It has to do with every single one of our, each and every individual civil freedoms to choose the path for ourselves, to treat ourselves, to medicate ourselves the way that we want to medicate ourselves. This is about a patient of mine who walked in 2 days ago and told me that her niece no longer had a brain tumor because she's been treating herself with medical cannabis for the last 2 months. 2 months. This is about a patient of mine that has multiple sclerosis. All right, she was on 9 pharmaceutical medications on a daily basis that had horrific side effects. Medical cannabis has changed her life. It has given her life back. She can work, she can play, she can hang out with her kids. It's given her that opportunity. She feels like she can now become an active part of society because she has that access to medical cannabis. We're here talking about medical cannabis freedom, and everybody goes, well, I thought it was free. Isn't it free? Don't we have 502? Don't we have rec shops now? What's the freedom? What are we fighting for? Well, we have to bring it back to who this is really about, where this started. This is about the patients. It's about the patients who no longer have brain tumors, the patients who have found natural medicine to treat their MS, their fibromyalgia, their child who has epilepsy in a safe way. Well, those freedoms that we've had, that we have fought so hard for, are being taken away from us. We need to rise up and find our voice. Okay? It took me falling off of a 60-foot cliff to realize how precious life was. And it's now taken me all sorts of loopholes and obstacles with being a member in this community to realize how important finding your voice really is. Okay, we can't do this by ourselves. This is bigger than me, so it's going to take more of a voice than just my own to get anybody to listen over here. We need to be loud like these guys. They're doing a hell of a job. Right? So when you see something wrong, it's your responsibility. It's not for yourself, but for somebody that you know who's using medical cannabis as a natural option. It's up to you to be that voice, to call it out. You know, to correct people when they're wrong, to help educate people. This is about feeling ourselves freely. This is about putting a seed in the ground and not having somebody knock on your door and throw guns in your face and tell you that we're going to take away all of your freedom over a plant, a vegetable, something that can be eaten, something that can be used in non-psychoactive ways. How many of these people think that we're using pot to get high? Probably most of them, okay? 90% of the time that I use medical cannabis, it is not to have a psychoactive response. 90% of the time that I use medical cannabis, is to feel better. It's to function. It's to live my life. It's to help other people feel better. Because not everybody has somebody sitting out there saying, you know what? I realize how precious and short life really is, so I'm going to stand up for you. I'm going to do that today. I'm going to be here. I trying to be your voice. It's scary, but you know what? If you don't want to say anything, but you feel comfortable joining our march and walking beside us, that's the first step to being an activist. And you've already helped us out by doing that.
Yeah.
And then, when you get comfortable enough, speak out. When you feel like something's wrong, speak out. What we feel is wrong in the medical cannabis community is that the Liquor Control Board has tried to get overly involved in medical cannabis patients' lives. Who is the Liquor Control Board to regulate my medicine? Where are the credentials? Med school? No. Bartender school? Maybe. Alright? But I don't think that they have any right to be involved in my medical treatment. Period. Don't want it. So you know what? I'm not going to let them. It's all about educating each other. You know, it's all about unifying the patient community. This is about love. This is about compassion. This is about healing. This is about holding each other up. When they're not strong enough to do it on their own, this community has held each other up through some really hard times. Be a part of it. You know, get it where you fit it. I've said this before. You know, there are several cannabis groups out there. There's Normal. There's Cause M right here. There's CCSE. There is ASAP. You know? There's MJBA. There are so many productive, positive, cannabis-focused groups. Find one. Support it. Even if you're just showing up. When you do that, you're going to figure out a whole lot more about this cannabis industry than you might have thought it was all about in the first place. It's not about getting high. This is about the baby boomers. This is about grandma, okay? Grandma doesn't like to smoke pot, but you know what? Grandma likes to feel good. And in her last years of life, who am I to take that away from her? Who is the federal government, our local government, and the Liquor Control Board to say, nah, you can't have this, I know you're dying, but we're going to still slap 30% tax on it. Because 37? 37? That's outrageous. What other medicine has tax? None. Okay? I'm standing up for this right now. I'm fighting this right now for every single patient in the state of Washington. Some of you know who I am. Not everybody. I recently received a bill from the Department of Revenue for what they're calling the sale of medical marijuana. Well, I hate to break it to you guys, the sale of medical marijuana doesn't really exist in any legal form in the state of Washington yet. Okay, so you can't tax it. So I'm fighting them on that. If for nothing else, it's for the patients. Alright? You got a child who has epilepsy and they need to have cannabis every single day so they don't have seizures, so they don't black out, so they can have their quality of life back. Who is the government to infringe on their medical rights? That's natural rights. That's something that everybody should have. You know, and the problem is we can't put the seed in the ground without ruffling some feathers. But if we get more people standing up side by side with each other, getting a little bit more comfortable day after day to say, hey, I'm going to stand by your side. And then you know what? Next year we're going to have more people. The year after that we're going to have more people. People are going to become more comfortable having this discussion because it's no longer a faux pas. This is dinner talk now. You can talk about this at your dinner table. You can say, so Grandma, how those medicated cannabis topicals work for your arthritis? Alright, how'd that vaporizer penetrate you? Well, that's good. I'm so glad you're getting sleep now. Okay? So anyways, be a part of the community, get involved, call it out. You know, right now there's this R76 going on. There's also a really other initiative going on right now too. It's 1372. Kirk is standing over here somewhere. Ah, there you are. He's collecting signatures for 1372. Now what 1372 does is it restores the rights to medical patients that we've been fighting for the last 2 decades in this state, to be able to provide other patients in need with medicine who cannot afford it, who do not have the skills to grow it, who who do not have the skill set maybe required to have the products that they need to treat their illness or ailment. So what we're going to try to do is gather enough signatures. If we can get those, we can get it on the November ballot this year. The November ballot, if this gets signed and passed by the people, that initiative takes precedence over 5052, which was some terrible legislation passed through this session down in Olympia. I'm really hoping that's the case. But the patients are here, the patients are still fighting. I think they're really realizing with 5052, oh shit, we gotta do something. I got really comfortable going to my local access point and then having everything that I need, and oh shit, what am I gonna do now? What am I gonna do now? So it's up to us to gather together, to speak up, to get involved, to sign these initiatives, to get behind the movement. Because you know what? Nobody's going to take care of it if you don't take care of it yourself. And that's all I have to say about that.